So I literally I scaled 100% and I hacked off half of the contribution in Google. And Google was just sitting there in its guard post eating donuts, spinning a 6-shooter while we're sitting around in
Yeah.
the bank. I have something potentially scary. There is a very interesting trend that I'm tracking right now inside of another company that we are trying to basically do a reallocation. So, long story short, we have to pull back on scaling this company because it needs to go through a rebuild. They have kind of an older audience with older clothes for older people, and they want to be on a newer company for a newer audience for newer people, but then they just raise the price like kind of 2x. So, yeah, it's like newer audience, but more expensive and yada, yada. So, there is a massive shit ton of thing that we need to do before we can actually grow and scale this company. We started increasing new customer acquisition up 20% year over year. It's not getting below $200 NCAC. So it's not getting more efficient. It's not a traffic problem. We need to readjust. But during all of that, we said, hey, let's go after a lot less warm traffic and or cold traffic, and let's start pushing into warm traffic. Let's just begin to kind of harvest the fruits of our labor. So in this time period here, we started to increase the ad spend on our returning customers compared to our new customers during the first week here. You can kind of see reduced 65% and increased 41% since the 11th of January for the last few weeks. Now, that has absolutely reduced the cost to acquire first-time customer greatly. Reduced from like 425 down to 181, 235 down to 116. This one is actually now only down to 2, so that is a
Better
temporary.
ratio.
We're basically just like hacking off things as much as we possibly can. The interesting thing though is we do have about a 2 to 3 week sales cycle. So as of 2.5 weeks ago, we started to pull back on new customers and started to push into returning customers. Now, during that same time period though of last week, I started noticing a trend. And this is a trend that we've already covered before where we said, hey, we pulled back on Google a little bit, but then we push for more returning customers on Meta, and Google is getting more returning customers than new. It's actually starting to get a little bit like crazier than that. Now, check this out. Let me I'm going to pause camera. Can you pause cameras? We'll full screen this because this is going to get really crazy. So if we look at the last 7 days here, well, not last 7 days, we're going to compare the same date range that we just did inside of here. So we can see that over the last week of 25th to 31 compared to previous week of 18th to 24, which is the same week here, 25th to 31, 18 to 24. We have a flat spend, basically 0.0, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0.00. I mean, the spend is 0.08% difference. It is $8 difference. It's very, very flat. But what we'd see inside of Google is that this is almost something that I'm tracking as a trend. It's very tinfoil hat right now, but if it's true, this could be massive. Where we have a 3% change in cost. Now, when we tracked this the other week, we noticed that, yes, when we decreased our ad spend by 15%, we got about 22% less first customers. Now what we're seeing is with another slight, albeit, but yes, with another reduction, we have a 3% difference in cost. But our first click now is down 55%, which is a much more drastic than it was before when we were down 15% in spend, but saw 22% down in new customers. Yeah. We said, okay, but now why are we sacrificing so many? Well, it is odd that now my new customers, though, are also up 27%. So my first click new customers lost 27, but my new customers gained 15. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. That's now much bigger. This is saying that Google is producing a lot less new customers, but it thinks it's also doing much better because it is getting more conversions. All it knows is, hey, Google just told itself that I spent 3% less and got 67% more. Good job, me. Woo, I'm going to throw a party for myself. Maybe have some balloons and a kazoo and a cake. I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to throw myself yet another party because we're duplicate tracking, but we're doing that on purpose. But the returning customers, look at this. My returning customers are up another 136%. Go Google. Look at that. Yeah. But the little 3% reduction in cost, not only did you gain 136 returning, but 27% more new, but you gained 100. Yeah. So you see how it's starting to become ridiculous. Watch the even more ridiculous, though. Standard shopping, 13% less in cost. First click new customers, yes, down 54%. New customers up 32. Oh, standard shopping, I'm so sorry. even after we said, hey, here's your new customers, you decided to just go towards more warm traffic. You went the easy route. You decided I'm going to abandon my own contribution to this company, and I'm just going to switch over to Meta. I'm doing that on purpose as a joke, but that's kind of the
And
point.
literally what's happening though.
Exactly. But see the returning, how did my non-brand returning customer purchases go up 77%? Damn it. Standard shopping. You were the chosen one. You were non-brand. You were first click and you were singular channel and you chose the dark side.
Yeah.
That is what I'm meaning by it says, what should I do with Google? Well, you know what you should do with Google? Scale and Meta. Like it's beginning that ridiculous now. I am now up 32%. My NCAC has been reduced by 66%. Why? Because Google said so. It's not true.
So question on that. I mean, you're also optimizing for both, right? You're duplicate counting. So that is also another factor, right? So it's going to attribute return customers just no matter what, because that's easier for it to go after. So why, like, I guess, what would be the reason for this if it were to just be cycling new customers versus optimizing towards both new and return?
Because it's not really that it's doing poorly. It's if there is a person here and that person is standing at the front door of Google. Oh, I definitely don't want to do that one there. And that person is standing at the front door of Google. There's two people. There's two exact people, and they both typed in, new dress. And this person typed in new dress. My standard shopping campaign literally said, wait a minute, which one of you has been here before? And the one on the right's like, oh, I've been here before. Like, all right. So take the cold traffic and see ya.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's going to do that in all cases though, right?
My non-brand standard shopping will favor warm traffic more than returning. So what you just said though is Google, and that's the reality that I had to come to. Google is any campaign you choose will be affected more so by the immense amount of traffic that Meta can generate than what Google can generate.
But you're also optimizing towards return customers as well.
No. Oh, no. It's as a whole. Yes. The campaign here, each one of the campaigns has optimized off of everything. So if it got my standard shopping that is supposed to be at a T-roll as a 40%, that has a 400% is favoring warm traffic. How do I scale that campaign when it says, well, Meta's traffic and my non-brand standard shopping campaign are people that are still in their journey? If you're still in your journey and these people are not in your journey, the people that are in the journey, I'm going to choose these people more often, which means I will scale less often. I will only scale now if Meta says I can. Standard shopping, which was the scalable one.
Now, question on that, because this is sort of when I guess maybe we should explain this first. So first click new customer, for those that don't know, is the first click new customer. So if they first clicked on a Google ad and they're a new customer, that's imported as a conversion. Mm-hmm. New customer is just maybe they clicked on Meta first and then they clicked on Google and then converted. That would count as a new customer as long as they were a new customer. And then obviously return customer is they click anywhere and then this is a part of the journey, right? So just want to lay that groundwork down first. So I wonder, and I've seen this in accounts as well, where you will push on Meta and you'll see your FCNC actually go up on Google because they're just gaining impressions and interest from Meta, and then Google scooping up the first click and then getting them to convert. But the reality is Meta is the growth, not Google. Google's just showing more from a click basis. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if in this scenario is Meta was actually retargeting people and earning more click data or more attribution, and it was sort of converting the repeat customers as well too. But now that that's not there, there's a lot more attribution that can flow into Google. Therefore, it creates that feedback loop of getting more return customers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there is. But it is interesting that I guess to say that is like the symptom, but not, I guess I would say not the cause. Right. And
well, the cause would be the spend difference. I get what you're saying completely.
Yeah, because Google didn't change the spend at all. And I hacked off Google's new customers by 50%, and I doubled the warm traffic new customers, returning customers by 100%. And Google was just hanging out and had no idea what the shit was going on.
Yeah.
So that was what I thought was really crazy is my branded campaign, first click new customers, down 60. My branded search, first click new customers, down almost 50. My non-branded standard shopping, my first click new customers, down 50. Why have 3 campaigns? It all tracks the same people apparently.
Yeah.
And this is okay. But then what about your total customer purchase? Up 233, up 80, and up 94. So I literally I scaled 100% and I hacked off half of the contribution in Google. And Google was just sitting there in its guard post eating donuts, spinning a 6-shooter while we're sitting there robbing the bank. I can completely change now what Google will go after simply by changing Meta. Like it's pretty crazy how much Google is being led by Meta. Hey, if you like this video, we have a school community where we have a few hundred members and we cover topics, everything from the basics to all the way to the like hyper crazy advanced stuff that's like coming out next month. So a few hundred members there. We go live twice a week, something with an hour-long education about something that is very relevant to the community that week, plus a weekly Q&A where you just get to come and bring us all of your problems and we solve them one at a time.
So I have a link below in the description if you want to join. And then obviously if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we can answer those for you. And we'll see you in there.